Welcome to another video as part of the Model Monday series, where we are going to look at the various business models and the associated topics. In the previous Model Monday video, we saw collection as a business model, and in today's video, we are going to look at some of the do's and don'ts when it comes to collection as a business model. I am Praveen Kumar, the creator, educator at Thrash the Trash, an online learning social platform for you to create an impact or income in waste management. Let's get into the video. If you haven't seen the previous Model Monday series, please check it out, where I have spoken about collection as a business model. I have used something called the business model canvas to help you understand how collection as a whole, how it works, to give you the perspective. And now we are going to look at some of the do's and don'ts. Why is this video important? In the previous video, I have mentioned why collection is a basic and a fundamental business model and why is it an underrated business model. So because of that reason, people try to make it complicated, sophisticated, and that is why I felt the do's and don'ts is going to help you to avoid certain mistakes and also at the same time to maximize your impact. Don't number one, don't try to outsmart the informal sector. In any developing or undeveloped nation, the informal sector, also known as the unorganized sector, they control majority of the waste management market. And in India, they control more than 90% of the waste management market for a variety of reasons. By saying don't try to outsmart them, I'm not saying because of the fear. They are not such kind of people. In some industry or sector, there might be tensions or frictions, but not over here, because the informal sector, they know what is happening in the industry. They always have the upper hand. Even if you have millions or billions of dollars, you will not be able to outsmart the informal sector. You will only keep burning cash. You will not be able to get the return on investment because they know that very well. And whatever waste is getting collected, they know as a matter of fact that it will eventually come to them. That is their confidence level. Why? I will explain that in a separate video. Let's look at the logic when it comes to collection. Why not to outsmart them? For that, let me ask you the question, why you want to do collection as a business? Is it because of environmental concern, or is it because you saw an opportunity and you want to make money out of it, or is it both, environmental plus money making? So what is it going to be? If it is going to be purely environmental concern, then think about this. Your only option is to give the waste to an authorized waste management company who has the infrastructure to process the waste. So in that way, whatever is the waste, that might get processed in an environmental friendly manner. But on the other hand, if you try to outsmart the informal sector and pay higher price for the waste, do you think a formal waste management company will they be able to buy the waste from you at the highest price? Now you might counter argue with me, Praveen, in the previous videos you kept saying that waste is given to the highest bidder. Of course, it is true. But do you think every time the waste management company are going to bid and win it every time? It is not possible. Higher the winning stakes, the operations, the activity itself is going to change. Confusing? Okay, let's take a step back. Let me explain step by step. Whatever waste you have at home or whatever waste is getting disposed of by companies, it's given to the highest bidder. And what are the possible action or activity you can do on it? Collection is one part of it. After collection, what is going to be the next step? Something has to be done on the waste. What are the possibility? It could be recycling, re-engineering, dismantling. It could be incineration, or it goes to a landfill, or it might be repair or import export. There are many options. As the price goes on increasing, what is going to happen? In the top 10 challenge video, I have mentioned about the overhead cost. The input raw material, any of these activities that you're going to do on the waste, the input raw material and the output, these two are influenced by external factors, by the market dynamics and pricing. So the only place where the control is in terms of the operations, in terms of the process. Now, when you compare the formal and the informal sector, the formal sector has much more cost because of the investment, the compliance cost, the legal aspect, annual returns, annual audit, not only to the income tax, but in terms of the pollution and other compliance aspect. Whereas the formal sector, they don't have any of this. So they have a very lean business model, but still they are able to do it. It's of course a non-compliance violation, but that is how they are operating. That is their modus operandi. That is their modus of operation. As the price keeps increasing the input raw material, then what is going to happen? In recycling, the output is going to be a commodity, again bound by market dynamics. So as the price keeps on increasing, recycling is ruled out. You can't pay a higher price for the waste when the recovery is going to be market defined. You will end up in a loss. In some cases, sometimes there will be loss, but every time you can't keep doing it. Then what is the point in running the business? As the price keeps going further, even re-engineering has to be ruled out. Why is that? Because whatever is the output, whether it is an alternate or a substitute of a similar product which has been traditionally manufactured, so what is going to be? Again, they have to stay competitive enough in terms of pricing, in terms of quality. So again, re-engineering is ruled out. Next comes dismantling with additional action. It could be like parts harvesting. Whichever parts is valuable, worth it, so those parts will be harvested and sold out. This is a way of offsetting the higher price. Or the next option is, and the most used option is, repair. As the price keeps on going higher and higher, the product has to get repaired and sold. Then only you will be able to recover the cost and still have little bit margin. And very worst case, the waste has to get exported. Again, foreign exchange, the currency rate, that is going to come in handy. So because of these reasons, higher the price goes up, the options will become limited. In the end, either it will become part of repair or it will end up getting exported. So now, if you try to outsmart them, what is going to happen to your waste? Do you think it's going to get recycled, re-engineered, dismantled, parts harvested, repaired, or is it going to get exported? All of these options, there is nothing wrong with them. All are valid options as far as the business are concerned, as far as the environment are concerned. There is nothing wrong. But what is it going to be your intuition? What is going to be your vision, mission and goal? And you need to understand, not everything can be repaired. Only a fraction can be repaired, and the balance has to get recycled or re-engineered or dismantled in an environmental friendly manner. But then what is going to happen? That because of the huge raw material cost, what is going to happen? A formal waste management company will not be able to process this waste at that price. So these waste will end up in the informal sector. So that is what is happening. So whatever is the input raw material cost, you have to keep it under checks and balances. So for that, you need to have a leaner business model, so that whatever is the extra savings that you have, a fraction of it you can pass on to the customer, so that your pricing is decent, if not as good as the informal sector. This is one way of looking at it. Coming to the second don't. Collection is a simple business model. We have to accept it. But then what people tend to do, they add tech to it, digitalization to it, to make it more tech savvy. Of course, it will add more value in terms of incentive. It might look very attractive for investors, but is it going to do any good when it comes to waste management? Just think about it. What is going to happen when you introduce tech? This is something I have spoken as part of the Thrasher Thursday, where I talked about tech as an area of expertise or passion or skill. Just think about it. Let's say that you are trying to develop a mobile application where the customer can look at the rate card, the pricing, and then they can schedule for a pickup. Do you think the customer is going to install the app? If yes, what fraction or percentage of the population, the demographics, and how often do you think they are going to use this mobile application, and what is going to be the transaction value? Do you think the customer is going to dispose the waste regularly, once a week, once a month, once in 3 months, once in 6 months? What is going to be the frequency? Just think about it. Does it make sense to invest so much money to create a mobile application, spend on the marketing, advertising, making the customer to install the application, and what are you going to get in return? Again, what is going to happen? You might look a very cool company, there is no doubt about it, but at the end, for the customer, the quality of service and the monetary value, that is what matters to them. Instead, you can develop a web application which you can integrate with your website, so that the customer need not install a mobile application, but rather they can see the whole thing on your website. So this is a suggestion. You can explore this. Don't number 3, don't try to buy your own fleet of logistics. Since it's a simple business model and there is not a lot of a capital investment involved, people who are not tech friendly, who are not familiar with tech, what they tend to do is they will feel like, let's buy logistics truck, the fleet, to handle the operations. But now the question comes is, will you be able to run it efficiently and effectively? Why? Because for collection as a business model, if you look at the key activities which I've explained earlier video, you have to handle the customer, assess the waste type, plan the logistics, pay to the customer and pick up the waste. This itself is very complex because you have to assess the waste, pay the right price, if not as good as the informal sector, somewhat a decent price, and then you have to make money out of it by selling it to the authorized waste management company. On top of this, if you are planning that I will have my own fleet of logistics, then you are adding more complexity to it, because whatever is your fleet, you have to plan for it. It has to run. It cannot be the case where it is sitting idle because you are not able to convince the customer to give the waste to you, or you're not getting waste on a regular basis. So that is why you have to keep it simple and lean, where you can either rent it, lease it, or get it on on-demand basis. And as you grow, you can think about getting your own fleet. The second don't, we talked about tech, right? If you are tech savvy, you can add one more in terms of the logistics algorithm, where depending on the waste quantity, the type, the algorithm can suggest a suitable truck capacity so that all the activities can be clubbed in terms of the logistics planning. Instead of you sending the truck to one customer and bringing it back, you can plan and club multiple customers within a particular vicinity and pick the waste. Or the other option is you can explore or experiment with two-wheelers. If the customer has smaller quantity, then you can think about picking the waste via two-wheeler. Whether it is legal or not legal, this is something you can experiment as a pilot project. Or you can use a two-wheeler where it goes to the customer place, assess the waste, assess the quantity, and then accordingly you can schedule for a particular pickup truck. So you can just experiment, test out these kind of activities to keep your business model leaner and agile. In the previous business model video, I spoke about key partners. What is the point in having a key partner? The reason is that you are trying to reduce your capital investment, reduce your risk. How? Instead of getting your own logistics fleet, your key partner is going to be your logistics company. They have the logistics, the truck, they have the skill, the expertise. So you just have to collaborate with them, coordinate with them. So in that way, you're not investing any money for the truck. You are not spending any time or your brain for the logistics planning. You have to just tell them these are the places, the timing, or however they want, so they can plan it out. So in this way, you are reducing your investment, reducing the operational risk, so that you can focus more on your core collection activity. And your other key partner, waste management company, how are you going to select them? The authorized waste company, it could be a dismantler, recycler, re-engineer, it could even be a repair, it could even be a trader, whoever it might be. So how are you going to select them? For that, you have to start looking within your vicinity, your proximity. They have to be closer to you. Farther the distance, lesser is going to be your revenue. Or to offset that, you have to have more quantity. Think about that. I'm in North India, you are in South India. Let's say we are having a discussion and you tell me that I will send the waste to your location. That is, you are collecting the waste and you are planning to send it to me. Look at the distance. It is going to cost a lot for the transportation. Do you think that is worth it? Instead, that cost can be saved if you are able to sell it locally to an authorized waste management company. So whoever is your key partner, you have to start scouting for them on your close proximity, closer to you. If not 100 kilometers, maybe 200, 300, 400 kilometers will do. Not more than that. If you want to go beyond that, then you need to have more quantity. So will you be able to collect that much quantity? More the quantity means you have to keep on accumulating that much waste store it somewhere in a warehouse. So the time is going to increase. So what is it going to be? Quicker collection, quicker time. The capacity is going to be small, so you can sell it within close proximity. More collection, more is going to be your volume, the capacity that you're able to collect, but the time is also going to increase. So you have to wait for that much time so that you have a large quantity, so that you will be able to send far and wide for a better price. So what is going to be? So that is something you have to analyze, research. Depending on the waste type, at this point you might be asking me, there are different types of waste, who's going to be the key partner? So then there will be multiple key partners, multiple waste management companies. Of course, one for electronic waste, one for plastic, one for battery, one for metal, one for wood, paper, textile. Of course, there are going to be multiple key partners. But then if you are going to ask me, everything is in mixed form, then how can I sell it? It's a valid question. So that is what we are going to see next week as part of the Model Monday series, where we are going to look at segregation as a business model. Segregation is nothing but separation or sorting of the waste. Whether you're going to do a collection, whatever is a collected waste, you can give it to an interested company who might be interested in the whole waste itself without segregation. Or if you want to do a segregation and give it to respective waste management company, that is also possible. The only thing is you have to sort it. So that we will see next week. Segregation as a business model. What are the activities, resources? Coming to the last and final part in terms of the do's and the don'ts. Now there are varieties of waste types and categories within it. Now the question is, what are the waste that you are going to collect? Some waste has value to it, some doesn't have any value. So what is going to be your preference, your choice? And within the waste which has value, are you going to select one or two, or are you going to collect everything? For example, think about plastic waste, electronic waste, metal, furniture, paper, fabric, textile, glass, and other waste. Now the question is, are you going to collect all of them, or are you going to collect only a specific few? It happens, it's going to be your preference. But please do remember, if you're going to go very specific that I am going to collect only this particular type of waste, then the question comes is, what is going to be your volume? What is going to be your transaction value per customer? And will you be able to generate revenue with that particular waste type and with the volume depending on your coverage area? Or you can go and cover multiple waste types. So what is going to be your choice? And now coming to the other aspect, where the waste which doesn't have any value. Not every waste has a value. So what about those waste? Are you going to cater it as an add-on service? For example, let's take a mattress. Mattresses, it doesn't have any value, and if the customer want to dispose it off, they can't put it in a dustbin. It won't fit. So they are looking for someone who can get it disposed. So either you can collect the other waste, the valuable waste from the customer, and these kind of invaluable waste, either you can do it free of cost, or you can charge a fee for it. Again, it's going to depend on the customer, whether the customer will be willing to pay a price for the disposal, or they might be looking for free. So in that way, what is going to happen? If it is going to be free, then the customer might feel satisfied. Then it is going to set an expectation. So more and more people might be interested. This is just a suggestion. So what is going to be? Will you be able to match both valuable and invaluable? So what is going to be? And again, I am not asking you to collect municipal solid waste. Again, that is a separate department itself, where the government, the municipal corporation, they would have given tender to an agency who is going to collect the municipal solid waste, which is nothing but your dustbin waste. So what is it going to be? Again, coming to the pricing, what is going to be the pricing? At what price are you going to buy from the customer, and what price you are going to give it to the authorized waste management company? Again, when it comes to pricing, it's going to depend on the market condition. For that, you have to approach the waste management company to whom you are planning to sell it, shortlist them, ask them what is the rate that they might be interested, what is the quantity they would prefer, and so those information you need to collect from the authorized waste management company. Whether it is a per kg price or per unit price, and what about the quality? What if some parts are missing? So what is going to be the pricing in that case? So these information you have to collect. And then you can also talk to the informal sector as if you're going to dispose your waste. So you get to know the pricing, what pricing they are giving to you. So this is going to give you the clarity in terms of the pricing, what price the authorized waste management company is giving and what is the pricing given by the informal sector. That is going to be a difference. But then how are you going to cover it? You need not match it, but maybe settle somewhere in the middle. So what is going to be that pricing? Let's say the authorized waste management company is saying that for a particular waste, they are ready to pay 16 rupees per kg. The informal sector is saying, I'm ready to pay 19 to 20 rupees per kg. So now the question comes is, what is going to be your buying price from the customer? You have your cost, you need to cover your margin. So what is going to be your buying price? So that is something, it's going to depend on your operations, the efficiency, how the distance between the customer and your logistics operation, the distance between your warehouse and your location of the authorized waste management company. So you have to consider all these factors, the market condition. Again, the price is not going to be the same for waste. This month it could be a different price. Next week it could be a different price. A week after that it might change, because waste is a commodity. Again, it is the output. It is influenced by the external factors, the market dynamics. So that is something that you have to remember. Again, now the question comes, whatever waste you have collected, now it is in a mixed form, in a fused form, because all waste types are together. Now, will you be able to sell that particular waste to one waste management company? That could be an electronic waste management company. Plastic, different. Metal, it might be different. Even within metal, copper, aluminum, iron, it's going to be different. So how are you going to address this? So in that case, are you going to talk to multiple waste management company to give this waste, or are you going to talk to a single company, one or more waste management company, who might buy the multiple waste type and then they will take care of it further? So what is it going to be? To make it much more better, to maximize your revenue, we are going to look at something called segregation as a business model in the next Model Monday series. So instead of this collective waste, all of it together, which is going to impact the pricing, because you don't know which is what price, which is what quantity. So in segregation, we are going to look at how this waste can be separated and in what way and what are the activities involved and what way it is going to benefit in terms of the revenue generation. So that is what we are going to look at as part of the next Model Monday series. I'll see you tomorrow with another video as part of the Tech Tuesday, where we are going to look at the 8 hours of trash technology.